So you want to know the ways of the artist. You've come to the right place. Carmina Mora, or the artist, is the best killer in the game. It's completely objective. She has the best cosmetics out of any killer. Okay, actually though. The artist is a killer in Dead by Daylight that uses crows to take out survivors. Her ability, Birds of Torment. So the artist sets up dire crows and sends them at survivors. When they're far away, they get swarmed. If you land another crow swarm on them again before they repel them, it will injure them. And it takes survivors 8 seconds to repel crows. If survivors are close to the dire crows within the radius of the cone, they will become injured. When you're playing the killer, you can see the cone, but the survivors cannot. Without add-ons, the dire crows remain idle for 10 seconds if you don't send them before they dissolve. Then when they dissolve, the power goes on cooldown, and once the cooldown is over, you can send some more crows. So, now we know who the artist is, but who am I? Why am I the one telling you all this? Take a look here. Yep, that's me. Still got that same headset. This was my very first streamed game as the artist, and one of my very first games as the artist in general. And it was on none other than Old Haddonfield. Yeah, give it up. Everyone, round of applause. Don't we all miss it? They should bring it back. New game mode idea. Bring back the classics. This was when the artist first dropped, and you could keep spamming pain res over and over again. Remember that? From then on, I instantly became an artist main. Anyways, now I'm Prestige 100 with the artist, and I'm most likely going to be an artist main forever. So it is time to get to some more advanced concepts when it comes to the artist. Let's talk about opportunity. When it comes to killers in Dead by Daylight who set things down or set things up, there's going to be opportunities several times throughout every chase throughout the game to use the dire crows, or if you're playing dredge, to use your remnants or to set up your remnants. A lot of players who try to play the artist will dismiss her as merely an anti-loop that is easily countered by W keying, and they say that after missing like 100 opportunities to have injured the survivors. There's always an opportunity somewhere to set up your power, to use it in a way that you may not have ever even thought to. So here's an example of an inexperienced player playing the artist and not utilizing her power to their advantage. And then here's an example of an experienced player actually utilizing the artist crows to their advantage. Notice how the inexperienced player didn't really see the opportunity, didn't really know how to set up a bird to give them an advantage during the chase, but the experienced player's POV, it seemed like they got something figured out, like they're tapped into something, you know. You have to be pretty much consciously aware of your power and how to use it every second of the match. We'll touch up more on that in a little bit. Birds of Torment is an anti-loop, since you can trap survivors at loops and pretty much immediately shut the loops down by setting up multiple dire crows and giving the survivors no choice but to either get hit by the crows or letting you hit them. Hit him anyways. That's something you're going to want to do. At this loop in particular, you get a hit either way. And due to this, survivors typically decide just to W key, which is pretty much their counter to the power. Another thing they can do is bait out your crows, which they can do by pretty much faking running into your crows and then backstepping, and then you send it, you miss, and we get a down for it. Nice. Well played. Nice. That was really good. I'm blushing, Cheryl. I'm blushing. And they'd completely destroy your life in that way. But how do you deal with W keying survivors? If you're not well versed with gamer terms, W keying basically means just running forward. Because of course the W key is the forward button on keyboards. So if a survivor is W keying, good for them. They're smart. But you can use their overthinking at every loop strategy against them by essentially placing your birds, faking them out, making it look like you're about to place birds, but you know they're gonna W key, you can tell. And when they leave the loop, you can quickly catch up to them. Alright, we're gonna catch them right here. Maybe not quite. I'm gonna fake it out. You're going to want to catch up to them and then hold them at a loop when you're close enough, because if you're not close enough, they're just going to run away. You can still crow swarm survivors, right? And then follow up with a snipe while they're running away. And what I also like to do sometimes is pick on a survivor that's working on a gen or healing somebody. And you do that in the meantime, so you're pressuring 2 survivors at once. How do you hold survivors at loops? Okay, there's a way to not do it, there's a way to do it. You need to make sure you're close enough, first of all, to the survivor, like I mentioned earlier. So you want to set up your cones in a way that you're just giving them no choice but to either run into you or run into the crows. Here's an example of an inexperienced player failing to hold a survivor at a loop. This guy just didn't know what to do, you know, he didn't really know what he was doing. Bit of a noob, you know. Anyways, here's an example of an experienced player holding a player at the same loop. So the experienced player was successful because they blocked off all of the survivors' exits, and they gave him pretty much no better option but to stay at the loop. And the inexperienced artist player, I mean, they just let them, you know, play the loop out and run away, and they just got destroyed, and they probably lost the match too because they spent so long chasing one survivor, which is what you don't want to do. So now let's discuss body blocking survivors. So body blocking is a survivor's way of taking a protection hit and making sure you don't get the kill that you're about to get. Survivors who aren't on death hook or don't have any hooks at all are usually the ones who are going to be body blocking. So how do you deal with this? Very easy, actually. All you have to do basically is set up a crow if you're close enough to them. You don't really need any special add-ons, though the severed tongue add-on, it does make you recover faster from using her power by a little bit. So the inexperienced player, when they're playing the artist, instead of using their birds, they just end up hitting the survivor, and then they both end up getting away. That is not what you do. What you do is you set up your bird, you destroy the survivor who's trying to body block. I do this all the time. It works all the time, whether it be inexperienced survivors, experienced survivors, comp survivors. I mean, it just works. It's just easy like that. It just works, you know. So set up your bird, send it to the person in front. What they're going to do is they're either going to move out of the way, allow you to squeeze in, hit the survivor that you're trying to actually down, or they're going to get hit by your crow, and then you can down them, the one body blocking, or you can just go around them and get the survivor you're trying to get. So very easy, no problem for the artist. Before we move on to anything else, there's something interesting you can do with the artist during endgame. I'm remembering this one match where I used my crow at the very end of the match, and I think this was a video. I believe they were about to just open the gate. It was already 99. If a survivor is right next to a gate that's 99 and they're about to open it, you can actually just kill them with the artist. You can actually just down them right then and there. They're healthy, it doesn't matter. You can just down them. So that is how you deal with that. Okay, it's time to talk about perks. Let's get into some of the perks in the game, ones that are good with the artist specifically. I'll give you a little build, decent starter build for the artist. I can go on and on about perks in the game because, as you know, there's like over 200 perks. Anyways, yeah, it's a lot. I think I'll make another video talking more about perks. So really quick, here's a decent starter build for the artist. So there's Dead Man's Switch, Scorch Hook, Pain Resonance, No Way Out, and Pop the Weasel. So Pop and Pain Res, they're going to be for gen regression, gen pressure, making sure they're not popping the gens way too fast. And then at the end, when somebody touches a gate, the gates become blocked, and it gives you a bit more time to learn the power, get an extra kill, maybe 2 or 3 if you haven't killed anybody, and you can even win the match in that additional time frame. Survivors, they don't like No Way Out, by the way. And then DMS, Dead Man's Switch, is going to be probably the most synergistic perk for the artist. So basically, you hook a survivor, Dead Man's Switch activates, and when a survivor gets off of a generator, it blocks for up to 30 seconds if you have the tier 3. So what you can do with the artist, you send the crows at a survivor, good or bad. They will usually always get off of it to take the birds off, because if they don't, then you just follow up with a hit, a snipe, right, on them with the crows. And also when you use Pain Res, very popular combination. If the survivors don't immediately get off anticipating Pain Res, then the generator will blow up, and then it's going to block because of DMS. So to be honest with you, not a lot of perks synergize well, like perfectly with the artist. Aura perks are obviously going to be pretty good, you know, like barbecue and chili, nowhere to hide. You get their aura, you send a bird at them, you know. Something you could do is use barbecue and chili, the Eerie Feather add-on, which makes you undetectable when you send all your crows. You can use that to easily sneak up on a survivor. Just an idea. So another thing that's pretty good with the artist, Ruin Undying. So we know what Ruin does. When a survivor gets off a gen, pretty much, The gen regresses at 100% of the normal regression. Used to be 200%, but you know, hey, we can't have it all, right? But it's still all right because you can send birds at the survivors gens and they'll keep getting off of it and Ruin will keep activating. You know, you kind of understand it, right? I might make another video talking about other perks that are good with the artist, but for now I'm gonna leave it at that. There's a lot of perks in the game, so we're just gonna stop right there. Okay, it is time to talk about add-ons now. Again, I could go on for a while with this because there's a lot of different combinations, and then they have perk synergy with certain perks. So I'm just going to give you some of the best, some of the more popular add-on combinations. So the best add-ons for the artist. Severed Hand add-on, number 1. This add-on causes survivors within 3 meters of a swarmed survivor to also become swarmed. This is a really popular one. This is what's going to help you get multiple hits, or just mess up the survivors a little bit because there's a lot of chaos, a lot of birds. And I'm going to touch up on getting multiple hits on survivors in a little bit. Okay, so next add-on, Ogrifo Lover. This add-on basically makes swarm survivors unable to use exhaustion perks, like Balance Landing or Sprint Burst. I actually don't really use this one a lot, but it is good. So what you can do with Ogrifo Lover is basically just set the crows idle at a pallet or window and have the survivors hopefully run into it so they can't life or trigger a 99 Sprint Burst when they need to. If you pair this add-on with the Still Life Crow add-on, it allows crows to stay idle for an additional 4 seconds, so you can use crows like that as well. Thorny Nest add-on is also a good one. This one makes it so that survivors who you injure with the crow swarm, so either you get a snipe on them or you hit them when they're within the cone, either one. It makes them hemorrhaged, which reduces healing speed by 20%, and they also become mangled, which makes their pools of blood bigger, and a very underrated add-on. My personal favorite, you probably see me use it, the Iridescent Feather. I use it like all the time. No one else does. Everyone else thinks it's really bad. So basically with this add-on, when you send all your dire crows, you become undetectable. I feel like everywhere you look, people are like, nah, this add-on is terrible. This is a terrible iridescent add-on. No one likes it, but I'm telling you, I have tricked just about every single survivor I've used the add-on against. Inexperienced, experienced comp players, I'm promising you, this works. It also helps that I might be the only person who uses this add-on, so no one really knows it's being used, even if they're like comp players. I'm telling you, they don't ever expect it. They just don't think of it. You know, they think it's a perk that you're using or something, but you can sneak up on them almost every single time. I feel like I'm exposing one of my secrets here, but you want to become good? Here's how you become good. Long story short, use Eerie Feather if you want to throw survivors off. So some add-on combinations, some other ones. I'll give you a couple other ones. You can use the Iridescent Feather with the Garden of Rot. It's the other iridescent add-on for the artist, but it's not that amazing. It makes survivors exposed for 4 seconds when they expel a crow swarm. So while you're undetectable, you can sneak up on them while they're exposing themselves. I'd only use Garden of Rot when I'm close to a survivor, and then I would fake out sending another bird so that they feel inclined to take off the crows, and then to their surprise, they're just exposed, and then you can hit them right then and there. But if they're on comms, they're gonna calm that out, and it's over, right? It's already over, you know? But if they're not, could be good. Second add-on combo, Mattia's Baby Shoes. This add-on, the ores of survivors within 5 meters of the idle crows are revealed for 3 seconds. Pair this one with Thorny Nest, and guarantee survivors will become hemorrhaged and mangled. Okay, so one more combo, well, 2 more combos here. The Severed Tongue add-on, after launching Dire Crows, your slowdown time is reduced by half a second. You would pair this one with Festering Carrion or Untitled Agony, which they basically make it so that, long story short, you catch up faster. Festering Carrion, send all the crows. The cooldown of the Birds of Torment is slashed by half a second. Untitled Agony, not only is your slowdown time reduced by half a second, but swarm survivors are moving 15% slower. Now, I think I can keep going, but this is going to get way out of hand. So we're going to move on. Okay, so getting double hits or triple hits on survivors, let's talk about them both. So you're going to want to use the Severed Hand add-on for this. We talked about this earlier. So for a double hit, you're going to want to just send 1 bird, and then you're going to want to hit a survivor who hopefully runs into another survivor, or they're just already right next to them, because maybe they're healing them, or they're on a gen with them. And then from here on, it's prediction. You just got to be good, and you just got to do it, pretty much. There's a really good clip of me doing it on Autohaven. Did I just hit them both? Oh my god. So there's definitely star alignment with it, but there's also a lot of prediction that goes into it. You have to know your survivor's next moves, many moves in advance, which is what I did in this clip. The survivor vaulted right into the other survivor. They held hands for a sec. The severed hand add-on swarmed them both. They went their separate ways. And then from there on, it was all just brain work. You can help the stars align a little bit better by hiding your crows as you're setting them up so they don't know where to dodge. And the crows are going to land based on where you predict the survivor's going to move. And it's quick work, by the way, too. You don't have a lot of time to set up. Very unfortunate thing. Both here. And they still have birds on them, so don't worry about it. Can I get a bird on the Claudette? Maybe not, if she goes up the stairs. There, we got her. Nice. With the Festering Carrion add-on again, it makes the Birds of Torment cooldown shorter by 0.5 seconds. This one would be more useful for a triple hit. I don't have an example. I haven't done it. I'm not gonna lie. This one is more like universal alignment. You really need a lot more luck with this one. You caught me, okay? I'm bad. A quadruple hit, it's possible as well. If I ever get a triple or a quad, I will post a clip everywhere. It will be made known. Double hits before we move on to anything else. Let me talk about two things that are very important. So first, really quick, I'm going to show you a very useful technique. So a bit of a technique you can do with the artist is when survivor is idle, pretty much, this. Setting up the birds in a way where you can almost guarantee a snipe without them knowing that you're even targeting them. I don't know if there's a name for it. Let me try to think of one. I think I'm gonna call it undetectably sniping survivors. I never really named it. It's just kind of like always been a technique. You'd want to do this with barbecue and chili so you have their auras right. Or you use discordance like I just did. They're on this gen now, so let me do it on this gen. Or better yet, now we know they're on that gen because of discordance. So if they move away in time, they can avoid it, but usually they're not going to in time. So now they think I'm chasing this one guy. We're gonna completely not do that. And completely mess it up. If you do it too close, like I think I just did right there, it's just gonna go through them and ignore them. I'm gonna be honest, I kind of had a lot of trouble finding a name for it. I've decided on a name. I'm going to call it the Sudden Crow Storm. And the other thing I wanted to talk about is gonna be lockers. Alright, so perfect. So also, if you send a crow through a locker where a survivor's in, it'll Killer Instinct. If you've ever been pulled out of a locker by an artist and you don't know how they did it, that's probably how they did it. There's certain loops in Dead by Daylight that are insanely difficult to deal with as other killers, but they pretty much guarantee a hit or a down as the artist. I call these Carmina-sided loops. These are going to be the bigger loops, such as the Farm Tree loop or the Giddy Meat Plant triple lane. That's what I call it. Basically, when a survivor goes to one of these loops and they really think they can loop you at it, they can't. Here's a clip of me on the farm loop destroying a David. No, I can't. He's a W cure. Got him too well. The tree loop as the artist is one of my favorites. Love going there. It's one of the strongest loops in the game too. Survivors will usually end up there. But basically you gotta make it so that survivors have no choice but to walk into the cone of your birds. Or run back into you. And then the Giddy Meat Plant triple lane. Okay, so another thing is if you put the crows too close, or like on top of it, it won't do the cone. You have to put it a little bit further away. This goes with windows too. You have to put it a bit further away, it'll do the cone. Loops like these, basically when survivors go into these loops, it's over. It's done. You just completely hold them. There's nothing they can do. It's a completely broken loop for the artist. An inexperienced artist would not have set that up there, and they would have probably just went around, and then the survivor would have just vaulted over the pallet. So you go to these loops as Wraith or something, and you're gonna have a bad time. But you go to these loops as the artist, and you're having the time of your life. This is why the artist on many people's tier lists high up there. I think I would put her at S tier, and there's an S plus tier with Nurse. That's what I think of Carmina. I'm gonna stop right there. There's a lot of videos of me playing the artist on my channel, using different builds, using different strats, and versing really sweaty survivors. So be sure to check them out if you want to see some more artist gameplay, learn a bit more artist stuff. But I play a variety of killers. If you're interested in that as well, leave a like if you learned something. Hopefully you did. Hopefully you instantly became a master at the artist while watching this. Subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the video. Let me know if you have any other questions. We can make a part 2. That is all. I am done.